Hello and welcome to episode 11 of A Cat and Her Yarn Respun. You can find me as Kiara Panther on Ravelry and Instagram and other social media. There's also a Ravelry group called A Cat and Her Yarn. I'd really love to start getting conversations going again in that group. So if you just want to come and say hi on today's episode thread, that would be really awesome. So this past weekend was the Oregon Flock and Fiber Festival at the Canby, Oregon Fairground, and I got a couple of things which you can see here. So first off, I got a yarn swift. My old umbrella yarn swift is literally being held together with safety pins. So when I saw this one and the price that it was, I pretty much couldn't stop thinking about it as I looked for the rest of the festival. So it is a purple heartwood inlay, and it comes apart. So it takes down really easily, and it's got the purple heartwood inlay, and I love everything purple heartwood. And then it has this one adjustable arm here. I don't know if you can see it, how it's clear through here. So that this part slides up and down depending on what what the length of your skein is. And then these have 3 different pegs here. So that you can adjust it. And then it just all goes together in this little stand here, which also is in 2 pieces. And then you have a really nice tabletop swift. So I was really happy with it. It was like half the price I've seen of other handmade wooden tabletop swifts. So I was really happy to find one that had a purple heartwood inlay. And then the other thing I got was 2 fleeces. This whole big bag here is 2 baby Corriedale cross fleeces. And it's this gorgeous dark chocolatey brown, almost bordering on a dark charcoal gray mix. It's just gorgeous. I just love the color. This is one of my favorite colored fleeces, next to like that really pretty silver blue gray that's really hard to find. And then it has some crimp in it. I don't know if I can get that to show up very well. So it's got a nice crimp to it, and it also has quite a bit of lanolin still left in it. It's still a very sticky fleece, which is what I wanted. I went to the what they call the parking lot sale at the Oregon Flock and Fiber Festival. It only happens on Sunday. And it's actually just they cordon off a little area off by where the sheep and goat show's going on. And you just, as a regular person, not necessarily a vendor, you just bring any fleeces that maybe were from your flock or that you've had in your stash for a while, and you just take cash for it. And when I first got there, it was all the fleeces that I was running across were very washed, no lanolin left, and I really wanted a sticky fleece. I want a little bit of lanolin left at the very least. Basically at Black Sheep Gathering last year, I ran across a fleece about the same color, and it was so sticky. I mean, it had so much lanolin in it. It was awesome. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I talked myself out of it. It's like, oh, I've got all this fiber I've already bought. You know, I really need another drop spindle. There was a drop spindle I'd had my eye on that I was thinking about, you know, if it was still there after I'd bought all the other stuff I'd gone for. And so I only had enough money left between this really awesome sticky fleece or the drop spindle I'd already seen. And I decided to get the drop spindle. And I'm glad I got the drop spindle, but I haven't been able to stop thinking about that fleece for over a year now. And I wasn't able to go to Black Sheep Gathering this year because it was during my nephew's camping trip birthday party. So I have just been waiting and waiting for Oregon Flock and Fiber Festival to come so I could go to the Sunday parking lot sale and hopefully find myself a sticky fleece. Well, like I said, most of them were washed, and I was just really disappointed. And then I was almost done, and I ran across this one booth that had these baby Corriedale cross fleeces, and I think they've been washed a little bit because, I mean, they've definitely been skirted very well. There's a little bit of hay, but it's been falling right out, and there's just a really nice amount of lanolin still in them, so she might have only washed it once, very gently, and I'm just loving working with it. I've already started making Rolags with my hand cards, so this is one of the Rolags I've got going so far, and it's got a little bit of the white in it, which shows up more in the Rolags, but for the most part it's this dark chocolatey brown. But it's so, I mean, even that, I mean, it's not as sticky as that other fleece, but I can, as you work with it, you definitely have a little bit of lotion on your hands when you've done a few Rolags. So I've been really, really happy with it. Trying to get this project finished so I can, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a few more Rolags. I'm going to make a bat on my drum carder, and then I'm going to sit down on my wheel and I'm going to spin up the Rolags, the bat, and some of the fleece directly from the lock, and see which fiber prep I'm liking the best for this. It may or may not go in my Mahonia poncho sweater project that I've been getting a lot of natural colored fibers for a while now. We'll see. I've got over 5 pounds, which is over 2 kilograms from what I understand. About 84 ounces, so I think it's over 2 kilograms. And so considering I've been buying 4 ounces here, 8 ounces there from different natural colored sheep to make into a 3-ply chunky weight yarn for this cabled poncho sweater project I've been wanting to do. The project's called Mahonia. The pattern's called Mahonia, and I'll include a link in the project notes if you want to take a look at it. And it requires like 1,600 yards of chunky weight. That's pretty darn expensive. So I figured I had all this fiber, mostly llamas and alpacas, that I would spin up my own chunky weight yarn. And I did a little skein. I filled up each one of my Magic Craft bobbins with a single, and then I applied them all together, and I think I was able to get them applied on the 2 bobbins, really overfilling the bobbins. So I had 2 skeins basically of this chunky yarn. And we've got a helicopter going over. It's been quiet the entire morning. Now that I'm recording, there's a helicopter. I can barely hear myself, so I don't know how it sounds to you guys. Sorry to go away. Okay, so anyways, I spun this 3-ply chunky yarn, and then I weighed how much, I measured the yardage after I'd washed it and weighed how much one of these skeins weighed, and did the calculations for how much yardage I was going to need, and realized that this would be like a 10-pound sweater. And I didn't want to make a 10-pound sweater. So part of it is also the llama. I would do I did like 1 ply of llama and 2 plies of wool. And I don't have a whole bunch of just random uncolored wool. And so I decided I'm probably going to want to do this only in wool. If I do incorporate any of the llama or alpaca, I'll use my drum carder to blend it in. But I'm going to need to teach myself how to long draw, which I've started doing okay first attempt, I think. I was kind of getting the hang of it. Definitely need more practice. And I'm gonna want to, I think, do just wool breeds into the yarn. So last year's Black Sheep Gathering, I bought a ton of different breeds. I figured while I was at it, I might as well sample different wool breeds. And it's going to be kind of a marled, dark brown, medium brown, and light brown with some grays in there. Chunky yarn, and then there's a cabled pattern. So hopefully the cable shows up. On my first skein that I did, I made a cowl to kind of test out the cable project, and it was a dark brown, medium brown, and then like a off-white marled yarn, and the cables aren't popping as well as I'd like it in that. So if I do a marled yarn where the colors are a little closer together, I think it might still turn out okay. I've looked at other projects that have used marled yarns for cable projects, and the ones that had the colors, the values of the colors closer together, turned out a lot better as far as making the cables pop. So going back to the fleece I just got, I may or may not incorporate this fleece into that project. I do have, I think I've got enough fiber that I've collected to make it without adding this fleece. I don't know, we'll see. I might add it just because of the color. I really like the idea of having one ply be this really dark chocolate brown, so we'll see how it ends up. If not, I'm sure I'll turn it into something. I'm having too much fun working with it at the moment. So that was my weekend. I didn't buy anything else because I only went with a little bit of money, and you know, this was the majority of it. The fleeces were actually $15. It was $5 for one and $10 for the other. And then this was a little bit more than that, but not. Everything was under $100. So, because I had $100 to spend for food, gas, and whatever I wanted to buy, and I actually came home with money. So. So it was a pretty, I just, in some ways I didn't enjoy the marketplace because I'd seen this Yarn Swift first. I'd already bought the fleeces. That was the first place we went, past the goats and sheep showing area. I looked at some of the fleeces there because I couldn't find the fleece sale at first. It was supposed to be somewhere around there, and I noticed there were some fleeces in there. So I was looking at them, and most of them were Shetland or Gotland, and I already have a Shetland fleece and a couple pieces of Gotland. I wanted something a little bit different. I have worked with Corriedale before, but I've always worked with Corriedale roving. As far as I can remember, I haven't worked with any Corriedale bats, and I definitely haven't worked directly with a Corriedale fleece before. So I was really happy. I don't know what it's crossed with. I don't know if Corriedale is a heavy lanolin breed or whatever it was crossed with was the heavy lanolin breed. But I'm very happy with the level of lanolin that's still in this fleece. So like I was saying, I didn't really enjoy the rest of the event too much because after I bought the fleeces, and then I saw this at maybe the 4th or 5th vendor we looked at, and I just, everything else I was comparing it to, it's like, well, if I buy this, I can't get the Swift. Well, if I buy this, I can't get the Swift. Well, if I buy this, I can't get the Swift. So there just wasn't anything that really jumped out at me. One of the other things I had gone with an idea to get was to get another orange roving, because I'm sad that this is almost done, and I realize I just don't have any orange, and I only have a couple bits of red in my stash. Everything else is blue, greens, and purples for the most part. And so I really wanted another deep orange roving or bat. And the only oranges I found had a lot of white in them, and the oranges were kind of almost shading towards peach or salmon. And just none of them were really what I wanted. So if I'd seen something that was an orange roving that was what I was thinking of, I probably wouldn't come home with a Swift. Maybe. But I did have some money left over, so I probably could have gotten away with both of it. But just everything else I saw, I was like, no, I'd rather have the Swift. I'd rather have the Swift. So in some ways, it kind of took away from enjoying the marketplace. But that's okay. And I did go through it pretty quick. When I got home, my mom was like, you're home already. I thought you'd be gone for hours. Because we left at 8 and we were home by noon. And it's like an hour drive to get there. So I didn't spend very much time there at all. There was like a little spinning area, but my fiance came with me, so I didn't want to make him sit while I sat and spun. And because it's an hour away, I didn't want to go 2 days so that I could spin with everybody. Maybe next year. Or maybe at Black Sheep Gathering next year I'll go one day just to spin, because it's only 30 minutes away, I think. So it's not too bad. The Black Sheep Gathering is just down in Albany now. It used to be down in Eugene, which was the first year I went to it. And then this year they changed to the Albany Fairgrounds, but I wasn't able to go. Next year, it's Black Sheep Gathering is actually going to be on 4th of July weekend. I guess the 4th of July is on a Thursday in 2019, I think. And Black Sheep Gathering is going to be like the 5th, 6th, and 7th, from what I understand. So we'll see how that turns out. Unfortunately, it was the only dates they could get this year. Next year it'll be back in an end of June like they like. So we'll see how that turns out. And hopefully I'll have more of my Mahonia spun up by then and see what other stuff I might possibly need. Because the other problem with going to fiber festivals is, while part of me wants to just go mad with the money and buy all the pretty things, another part of me is like, you have a very large stash of fiber that you're not getting to all of it anytime soon. You don't need to add extra stuff. So my yarn and fiber stash has kind of gone the way of my nail polish collection. I have a very large nail polish collection. And now whenever I look at nail polish or yarn or fiber or anything like that, I'm like, well, is it special? Because I've got all this other stuff already. It's got to be something that's really special. So I on one hand, I want to buy all the pretties. On the other hand, part of me is just kind of super saturated with my stashes. Which is a really weird place to be in. So, let's see, today is sometime in September. I want to say that Monday's the 1st, so, and this is Thursday. I'm going to start recording my times on Thursdays now, because that's the day my fiance started school again. And instead of him being gone Wednesday and Friday nights to go see his friends, he has to go into the city. There's 2 campuses he has classes on. One that's within walking distance of our house, and the other one that's in the city proper. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, he has to go into the city for his afternoon class. So he's decided he'll meet up with his friends and play D&D on Thursdays. So he won't be home until like 9 on Thursdays. So that's the days I'm going to try and record. That'll still give me time to upload overnights, over the weekends and whatnot, when he's not on the computer. I'll also probably be able to start uploading earlier because he's going to bed about 10 o'clock. So he's got really early morning classes Monday through Thursday. So we'll see how that goes. But that's kind of my change in schedule. And I was going to leave on Monday for a trip down to California, but we've pushed that back to the 5th because my uncle's not going to be available until later in the month. So we're going to visit him on the way back. So we're probably still going to be coming back about the 15th-ish. so we're cutting the trip short. But the party we're going to, I think, is on the 7th. It's a birthday party for one of my mom's friends, the mother of one of my oldest friends. And I believe that's on the 7th. And I'm just outside Salem, which is about an hour-ish south of Portland. And we have to go all the way down to the San Diego area, because of the northern San Diego area. So while we have driven that in one day before, when there was an emergency, it's nicer to take it in a 2-day chunk. So if we leave the 5th, we'll get there in plenty of time for the party. I'm hoping to take my drop spindle project with me down to California, and the deep creek cowl that I'm making out of the skein of this stuff that I've already finished. I'm hoping to get this finished completely tied up and everything so I could take it with me. So if I finish the deep creek cowl, I was originally thinking I was going to turn this skein into some hand warmers, but now I'm thinking maybe a hat. Maybe I'll do some version of the Deep Creek Cowl's slip stitch pattern and incorporate it into a hat. I don't know. That's another thing I think I'm going to do with this new fleece I got, the Cordell fleece, is because of the lanolin in it. I was talking with one woman at Oregon Flock and Fiber, and she was saying that this one hat she made out of some heavy lanolin yarn she spun just won't quit with the water repellent. So I have a wool hat, but after a certain point it becomes saturated and my head gets wet. So if I make my own hat out of a heavy lanolin yarn, it'll probably last longer. So that's one of the things I'll probably do with the fleece. So am I going to need an orange hat to match my cowl in that case? Probably not. But I'm going to want to do something with this skein. So we'll see. It depends on how much yardage I have. And I expect it to end up to be a little bit thinner yarn than the first skein that I'm making the cowl out of. Because I'm spinning it tighter to try and really get that cabled yarn going, you know, because it's going to be cabled. So it's going to be plied and then plied again in the opposite direction to make a 4-ply yarn. So the skein that I'm making the cowl out of, some of the parts are kind of untwisted. So I'm really going to ply the first 2 plies really crazily. So I've been putting extra twist into the singles so that it doesn't have too much taken out. And it sounds like there's another helicopter coming. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. I'm leaving the 5th now. I don't think I'm going to have time to record unless I do something early. So I probably won't record again until, I'd say somewhere around October 17th, give or take a few days. Probably won't go up until about the 20th. It takes me a few days to edit sometimes. I'll probably have a lot of pictures from various places we'll stop at least that's my intention. So I'm hoping to have another episode up somewhere around October 20th. So I hope everybody has a wonderful month, and if you're getting Halloween costumes together, happy sewing, whether it's for you or your kidlets. I'd love to see some cute kidlet Halloween costume pictures. Go ahead and share those on the thread if you want to. And hope everybody takes care, and I'll talk to you all in a few weeks. Bye.